Hey you guys, welcome to a new episode of Food and the Single Guy with me, your very own AMARU. Now on this episode of Food and the Single Guy, I am going to do some baking. Now if you follow me here on YouTube, either on this channel or on my other channel, you will know that I'm not into sweets. I'm not into cakes, I'm not into cookies, I'm not into pies, none of that. But on occasion, I will indulge. Now what I'm going to be baking on this video is a traditional I don't want to refer to it as a cake because it's not spongy. It's not a pie either. It is, I'm going to refer to this as baked goodness from the homeland. Yeah, because that's what it is. Anyways, it's called boyo, and on this video, I'm going to show you how to make it. So let's get baking. There are actually a couple of versions of boyo, and back in the day, it was made with cornmeal. On this episode of Food and the Single Guy, I'm going to show you how we make it nowadays, and that is with grated cassava and grated coconut. Now, up here in the West, they do sell frozen grated cassava and frozen grated coconut. But I do remember a time back home when we had to manually grate the cassava and the coconut, and on occasion a nail or two or a knuckle would end up in the batter. But anyway, let's get to it. Because the first thing you'll need to do, you'll need to thaw the frozen cassava and the frozen coconut. Now pour the cassava into a large bowl and give it a stir to break it apart. Next, we're going to add about 6 egg yolks to the cassava. And then it's time for the rest of the ingredients, such as the condensed milk. And make sure to stir well. Followed by the cinnamon, a pinch of salt, about 6 to 8 tablespoons of sugar, the grated coconut, and mind you guys, every time you add an ingredient, give that a good stir because you want everything to be mixed well. Now you may add the coconut milk, and yet again, give that a good stir. Okay, you may now add the milk to the batter. And as you can see, I am using 3 kinds of milk. I'm using the condensed milk, which will give you a very smooth texture. I'm using regular milk, and I'm using coconut milk for extra flavor. A lot of people do not use the condensed milk, but I am using it because I find that it gives a very deep and rich flavor to your boyo. And as ever, don't forget to give it a good stir. Now, melt a stick of butter and add that to the batter and mix well. After that, add about a tablespoon of vanilla extract and a tablespoon of almond extract and mix well. You may now add the raisins and give that a good stir as well. Now mind you, the batter should not be too thick. In fact, it should be a smooth batter, just like so. Okay, remember at the beginning of this video when we separated the egg yolks from the egg whites? Now it's time to revisit the egg whites. Because to the egg whites, we're gonna add about half a tablespoon of vanilla and half a tablespoon of almond extract. Then we're going to beat the egg whites until they look a little something like this. You will now scoop the egg whites to the batter and gently fold it over. This will make your boyo very, very fluffy. Next, we're going to grease an oven dish with either butter or baking spray. Then we're going to pour the batter into the dish. But before the dish goes into the oven, we're going to add some cinnamon sticks to the batter, followed by a couple of strips of butter on top to ensure a moist crust. Now place the dish into an oven and bake for about an hour at 180 degrees C, and make sure you preheat the oven for about 15 minutes at 200 degrees C. Now after about an hour or so, you take a toothpick and you check to see if your baked goodness from the homeland is done. If not, you allow it to cook for another 15 minutes, then check again. When it's done, you remove it from the oven and allow it to cool before adding these very festive sprinkles on top. And in my country, we serve it just like this. But feel free to add some ice cream or whipped cream to your boyo. And that's that. Now, if you can find all the ingredients to this recipe in your supermarket, which I'm sure that should not be a problem, and you decide to try this recipe, let me know how it turned out, alright? In the meantime, happy cooking, happy eating, happy baking, and hopefully I'll see you on another video very soon. Have a good one, you guys.